For decades, the UFC has been the undisputed king of the mixed martial arts world. If you wanted to prove you were the baddest person on the planet, you went to the octagon. But lately, the armor on the world's biggest MMA promotion is starting to show some serious cracks. High-profile champions are walking away, veteran fan favorites are testing free agency, and some of the sport's biggest names are openly looking for an exit strategy.
This isn't just a random coincidence. It is a calculated, quiet revolution. Fighters are realizing that the prestige of wearing a UFC gold belt doesn't necessarily translate to a secure financial future. When you lift the curtain, the reasons why athletes are abandoning the sport's biggest stage become glaringly obvious. The core of the issue boils down to a fundamental argument over dollars and cents. In major mainstream sports like the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball, the business model is built on a partnership. The leagues split their total revenue roughly 50-50 with the players. The athletes are the product, and they are compensated like it. In the UFC, the financial blueprint is completely different. Historical data and ongoing antitrust lawsuits have revealed that the UFC's revenue share for its athletes hovers significantly lower, somewhere between 13% and 20%. The vast majority of the money generated by pay-per-views, massive arena gates, and global broadcasting deals stays at the corporate level. For the elite superstars at the very top, paydays can still be massive. But for the mid-tier and lower-tier fighters who make up the backbone of every fight card, the reality is brutal. Many entry-level athletes are locked into contracts starting at $10,000 to show and another $10,000 if they win. Once you subtract the costs of a multi-week training camp, paying head coaches, nutritionists, management fees, and taxes, a fighter can easily walk away from a brutal 3-round war completely broke.
It wasn't always this way. Before 2015, fighters had a built-in safety net to offset low promotional pay: independent sponsorships. You probably remember the classic era of MMA, where fighters stepped into the cage covered in logos. They had sponsors plastered across their shorts, their t-shirts, and the banners hung behind them during introductions. Top-tier athletes routinely earned 6 figures per fight from outside companies before they even factored in their actual UFC purse.
But everything changed when the UFC implemented its exclusive apparel monopolies, moving first to Reebok and later transitioning to brands like Venom and Crypto.com. Under these corporate deals, independent in-cage sponsorships were strictly banned. The colourful, individualised landscape of fighter gear was replaced by uniform, standardised kits.
While the UFC distributes a tier-based payout from these outfitting policies based on a fighter's total number of promotional bouts, the money is a mere fraction of what athletes used to command independently on the open market. By stripping away a fighter's ability to monetize their own skin, the promotion cut off a massive, vital stream. Then came the realization that completely shattered the illusion of UFC exclusivity, and it ironically started with the biggest cash cow the promotion has ever seen: Conor McGregor. McGregor was the undisputed king of pay-per-view, a global phenomenon who generated a mountain of wealth for the company. But in 2017, he inadvertently sabotaged the UFC's absolute leverage over its roster by forcing their hand into co-promoting a boxing mega fight against Floyd Mayweather. While the UFC walked away from that night with massive short-term profits, they accidentally broke their own system by letting their biggest star cross over to boxing and make an estimated $100 million in a single evening, dwarfing his entire MMA career earnings combined. They let the genie out of the bottle. They proved to every athlete in the locker room that the ultimate payday didn't exist inside the octagon. They created a brand new blueprint. A few years later, heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou looked at that exact blueprint and realized he held all the cards. When his contract negotiations stalled over demands for higher pay and the freedom to box, Ngannou did the unthinkable. He refused to sign, vacated his title, and walked away from the UFC entirely. He used the door McGregor had cracked open, signed with a rival promotion that granted him total flexibility, and immediately secured massive boxing matches against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. In just 2 nights in the boxing ring, Ngannou earned tens of millions of dollars, more than he would have made in a dozen UFC title defenses. McGregor built the breach, but Ngannou showed the world that an active fighter could actually cross it, leave the UFC behind, and win.
At the same time, competing leagues have grown smart. They are actively weaponizing the UFC's restrictive pay structure to lure away notable talent with highly lucrative alternate formats. Look at the Professional Fighters League, or PFL. They structured their entire promotion like a traditional sports season, offering a tournament format where the winner of the weight class takes home a guaranteed $1 million grand prize. For a mid-tier UFC veteran who feels stuck in a political bottleneck, the PFL offers a transparent, merit-based path to a massive payday.
Then you have promotions like the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, or BKFC. Backed by high-profile investments, including promotional involvement from Conor McGregor, BKFC has carved out a massive niche by offering heavy, flat-rate purses to striking-heavy fan favourites. Combine that with promotions like One Championship and massive financial backing, opening up doors in Middle Eastern markets, and fighters suddenly have multiple viable bidding wars for their services. This has fundamentally changed the UFC's roster strategy. If an established veteran loses a couple of fights or demands a higher salary that doesn't perfectly align with their pay-per-view drawing power, the UFC has very little incentive to keep them. It is far more cost-effective to cut the expensive veteran and fill the undercard with cheap rookie labor.
But there is a final piece to this puzzle that rarely gets talked about. Sometimes leaving isn't the fighter's choice. The UFC is actively filtering out its middle class. Through the massive success of Dana White's Contender Series, the promotion has created a highly efficient, year-round scouting pipeline. Every week, young, hungry prospects fight for a chance to earn a UFC contract. Because these rookies are desperate for a shot on the big stage, they are more than willing to sign those entry-level $10,000 contracts.
The UFC will likely always be the most recognizable brand in mixed martial arts, but the days of the promotion holding absolute monopoly power over the athletes are fading. Fighters are smarter. The market is larger, and the message echoing through gym walls around the world is louder than ever. Breaking your body for the prestige of a brand isn't worth it if the math doesn't add up.